Did you know that the gun you got melted with playing Call of Duty, the KRISS VECTOR, was actually made by a fellow Frenchman? Thanks to Gun Jesus, the French have a somewhat good reputation for making firearms, most notably the FAMAS or the FR-F1, but not many people know that it was a Frenchman that actually made this. It is a gun that fights its own recoil so you don't have to, and we're gonna dive deep into it. Stick around to find out. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Tennis at the Range. Today we're gonna talk about the KRISS VECTOR in 9mm. We're taking it to the range and completely breaking it down. For those who are new on the channel, I'm a French firearms enthusiast with a passion for practical shooting. I started this channel to share the stories behind the guns I love, track my own progress on the range and learn as much as I can along the way. Make sure to subscribe and come along for the ride. Before we talk about the brand, the gun and its unique recoil system, we need to talk about its creator. Who is Renaud Kerbrat? Renaud Kerbrat was born in Brittany, France. And I don't know what they eat in Brittany, but they are very good with guns, because it is the same place that the greatest shooter of all time, Eric Graufel, is from. In 2002, Kerbrat founded Gamma Renaissance in Switzerland to develop his patented Super V system. He named the system after the KRISS, a famous Southeast Asian dagger with a distinct wavy blade, symbolizing both lethality and a unique shape. He knew that the US was going to be his biggest market, so along with his investors, he created Transformational Defense Industries, which is TDI. It was with TDI that he built a functional prototype called the XSMG, experimental submachine gun, chambered in 45 ACP, that the US Army's Picatinny Arsenal, RDEC, took interest in. They awarded TDI a contract to study the feasibility of the Super V system. Their computer modeling confirmed the claims. The design reduced failed recoil by nearly 60% and muzzle climb by almost 95%. The brand truly came to life in 2007 when they released the Vector. It became a celebrity because it had a very innovative system, it promised an extreme reduction in recoil, and most importantly, it looked cool. They started full production in 2008 and in 2010 they rebranded to KRISS USA. They have updated the KRISS slowly, with this one being the third generation, which I'll go through in a second. I'm interrupting this video to talk to you about CNP Tir. CNP Tir is a gun shop in Tours, which is about 3 hours away from Paris, and they're the gun shop that lent me most of the pieces that are in the channel. They are the first ones to believe fully in Dennis at the range, so I really have to thank them a lot for that, and I'm really grateful. They just lent me the guns, I do whatever I want with them, and then I give them back. They have absolutely everything, and I was very surprised when I walked in and I saw all that there is here. They have all the latest things that come out from the industry, and they also have a bunch of old vintage rifles with a lot of history. They truly are a one-stop shop for anything related to firearms. I am right now in their vault, and you can see there's just everything. So again, thank you very much to CNP. Now let's get to the video. So first of all, we have the safety, which is I think one of the most important parts. It's just flip up safety that you put down for fire, up for safe. It is fully ambi, can be controlled on both sides, so that when you're shooting, you can either do it with your thumb, and when you want to put it back on safe, you can do it with your index finger. I know some people like to do it. I personally don't. I like to keep everything with my thumb. Then we have the charging handle over here. This one is not a reciprocating charging handle. You have to pull it and then push it back. It's kind of stiff, it's actually very stiff, but a very interesting part of this one is that when you pull it like that, the chamber actually kind of opens so you can see if there's a bullet inside or not. So you grab it here, you see how my bolt moves ever so slightly right here. Over here we have the bolt catch on the right and the bolt release on the left. You pull back, you press this button, and now your bolt is open, your bolt is locked to the rear. And if you press this button right here, it's gonna go home. Then we have our mag release over here, which changed a bit from the Generation 2. In the Generation 2, the mag release was thinner but longer. And you take this out and you switch from one side to the other. All right, let's talk about how the KRISS VECTOR has evolved over the years. Generation 1 launched around 2009 after the initial prototypes. This was the baseline Vector, mostly made in 45 ACP. Gen 1 guns had a classic chunky look. They also had a trigger that was kind of like a 1911. Then they stuck to Picatinny rails. The stock was usually a folding stock, kind of similar to this one, and the charging handle was non-ambidextrous and it was reciprocating in the first generation. Then, in 2011 at SHOT Show came the K10. The lower receiver got redesigned so you could swap calibers super easily, You could go from 9mm to 40 Smith & Wesson to 45 ACP just by popping different lowers. KRISS dropped the official Generation 2, which basically replaced the K10 in 2015. They refined the internals for better reliability across a wider range of ammunition, they added more calibers right out of the box, and they completely redesigned the pistol grip for better feel. The trigger was also improved. It became a pivoting trigger instead of a 1911 style where you just pull straight like that. The safety selector was upgraded and they made a dedicated 9mm lower. In 2017, there was a small update called the Generation 2.1. Mostly the upper housing and the stock mounting changed to have better compatibility with AR style buffer tubes and suppressors. But KRISS says that Gen 2 and Gen 2.1 are basically the same. Now if we fast forward to the 2024 SHOT Show, KRISS unveiled the Gen 3. Now if we go from tip to butt, the Gen 3 comes with a threaded barrel, I think, and this one has a flash hider. Then going down, we have the M-LOK slots over here. This particular one has a Romeo 8H, a SIG Romeo 8H enclosed red dot. Over here, the grip. This is actually an AR-15 compatible grip. So if you want to have another grip, you need to take this part out and then you can change the grip and you put this back on. We have the flip-up sights. They actually co-witness, so if the dot goes down, these actually work. And then if we go to the back, we have a Picatinny rail, so you can attach any type of stock you want that fits this. In France, if the gun is shorter than 60 centimeters and can still fire, it's category A, so it's not available for civilians. So this one is not a folding stock, just to keep it compliant with regulations. However, this is the nice KRISS stock. This stock is quite good actually. It looks cool, it's very good. I think it's a lot better than the ugly AR buffer tube. Let's take a look at the trigger. So we take the safety off, take a look at the amount of travel. So it's kind of like a two-stage, but very small first stage. Then I'm pulling, and then it breaks. And then let's look at the reset. And then it breaks again. Okay, now it didn't really get selected by the US military, but it still got to the hands of special forces units around the world. For example, the Philippines Special Action Force, SAF, Panama's National Police, UFEC, and various units in Bangladesh and Thailand. Let's talk about the Vector and popular culture. It first hit big in movies back in 2011 with the Green Hornet, but exploded in 2012 with Resident Evil Retribution, Total Recall, The Avengers, The Purge, Maze Runner, John Wick, so many famous Hollywood movies. But video games? Man, this is where the KRISS Vector lives. The KRISS Vector is in over 60 different video games. Call of Duty fans know it best: Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 2, Ghosts, Modern Warfare 2019, and I even remember when they added it in Rainbow Six Siege. I was getting melted in all of those, but whatever. It's in Escape from Tarkov, Payday 2, Ghost Recon, Insurgency, Battlefield 2042. There are just so many titles, it's crazy. By the way, I didn't know this, but if you have ever played Airsoft and you know about the Crytek brand, well, that is owned by KRISS. Okay, so to take it apart, you need to take these 3 pins over here. The upper is made of plastic. It feels like polymer. And a very cool thing about this one is that the hammer actually comes from the top down. So if we press the trigger, you can see that it's kind of like the Alien, where it comes from the top down. Then this is a little bit what the upper looks like. And now let's look at the interesting part, the Super V system, which is on the lower. So here's what makes the Vector special. To show you more in depth, we have to take this pin over here. And now our whole bolt is gonna come out. So pull this out. And here we have it. So you can see that this is where our chamber is, and this is a 5.5-inch barrel, and it has some tracks. This is actually where the extractor is. This is the extractor that's fixed on the gun, on the frame, but it has some tracks that go down. So what happens when you fire this gun? Well, let me show you. When you're firing, this is gonna push back and the recoil is gonna go down. So it's gonna actually pull your bolt down, and then it's gonna pull it back up and push it again. The energy gets transferred, it goes vertically, gets pulled down into the tracks, and then it goes back up, rechambers around, and is ready to fire again. And this is where the hammer would strike to hit the pin and to fire the round. So this is the Super V system. You see how it goes down. So then it goes down. See how the bolt comes right here? So this is where our bolt is right now. And then it's kind of like a roller coaster. So yeah, this is the Super V. The patent for this design, the main patent, was filed back in 2003. It was granted in 2007. and it was called Firearm with Enhanced Recoil and Control Characteristics. And what's really cool about this is that you can actually get a really fast rate of fire. It's about from 900 to 1200 rounds per minute. And the system works particularly well on submachine guns, even though it has been made, I think, for even a 50 BMG. So now we're at the range. We're gonna see how the V system works. So I got my YouTube compliant mag over here, charging handle. My red dot's on. I'm shooting what? Like 7 yards. Let's see how it goes. Holy shit. There's no movement. Wow. There is no movement. Like the gun does not recoil at all. That's, yeah, I mean, it works. I don't know how it would work in full auto. There is no recoil. Let me put some more rounds through it. This is a lot of fun. And I find my fingers always looking for that mag release over here because I train on AR-15s. Gun is clear. It is super, super windy out here. So my target on the back fell. Because I am in France, I cannot use the USPSA targets or the IDPA targets.
Gay!
But this size is about the size of center mass of an IDPA target, so we'll count it like that. The whole setup being on this side, it's cool because you can access it, but there's also a problem that when you're holding the gun, you either have a high grip right here and you end up locking the bolt back accidentally, or sometimes, but it didn't happen to me, I know it happened to some people, you press the mag release and your magazine falls down. So not a fun thing to do. Oh, yeah. User error. So it's not a malfunction. When I grab it, I put my thumb right over here, and you can see how it goes here, which is an issue. What I would change if I were to have this setup is to put the red dot a little bit higher. Now, why is this? Because when I was trying to get a cheek weld, I was still finding myself going down a lot to have a look at the red dot. So I think it would be a lot easier to have fast acquisition of the sight if this were to be a little higher. But then a problem would be of height over bore. As you can see, like right now, there's still quite an important height over bore. So if it's higher, then it would be even longer. And this gun, it's 9mm, so it's technically made for that close quarter combat. So if you want to go like for very precise shots, you would need to take into account this height over bore, and sometimes under stress, if you're not trained enough, that can be an issue. Let's do some build drills to see how the trigger works, how the recoil responds, and how this whole system overall works. On the beep, I'm at 7 yards. Total was a 130. First shot 0.62, my splits were 0.16, 0.12, 0.15, 0.13. The only problem is I have a bunch out, so I'm gonna go tape it up real quick. I was just all over the place. I was just focusing on pressing the trigger as hard as I could. The problem is, instead of pushing back, it just goes up and down. I don't know. Same thing, build drill, as fast as I can. Let's see where I'm at. It's also weird, like I don't know exactly where I can grab it.
That's what she said!
133, so it is consistent. Let's do one more. A 138. We're looking at quite a consistent gun, nothing a lot that's changing. Splits are looking around that 0.15, 0.16. Lowest I've done is 0.10, so from 0.1 to 0.18. Just the gun is kind of all over the place. Come with me, I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. So there is the height over bore. I'm aiming right here. There's like the way this gun is zeroed and everything, they kind of fall down. So that's not bad. The problem is like it starts going right for me. Is it a good gun? I don't know. I wouldn't really say so. With the advancements in firearms technology and the fact that you can have a full size cartridge on a gun that's about the same size, to me, it doesn't really make sense. Depending on where you live, it would make a lot more sense to get a short AR or a short AK. It's easier to get parts, it's less complicated. It obviously has a better ballistic performance because you're firing rifle cartridges instead of pistol cartridges. I mean, if you absolutely want a 9mm, then the GOAT is absolutely the MP5, which is proven, reliable, and overall has a lot less recoil than this one. But I'm actually glad that Mr. Renault actually innovated. This is a very cool gun, but from a purely practical point of view and logic today, I think it's better to stick with a short AR or a short AK, depending on where you're at. New targets. And we'll see how the gun transitions. So I'm about 10-ish yards, a bit more. and I'm gonna go right to left, 2 and 2. I'm gonna start with the target on the right, stand by. One, 3, 7. Let's run it again. I always have one shot that's slower. I think what's happening, and I'll try to see in slow motion, we'll film this in slow motion. But when I shoot, it like the Super V system like pulls my gun down. So I think that's what's happening. Okay, let's run it again. Trigger freeze. 162, so a bit longer with that trigger freeze. One last time. Yeah, okay, I see. So I had some trigger freeze on this, but this doesn't matter. This is just training. The gun, the first shot is going in where I want it to go. And the second one it's pulling me down. So when I do doubles real quick, it pulls me down. So my second shot is down. Okay, I'm gonna go do it again. Yeah. The recoil system is actually so good. Like my first shots are all inside. What's happening is first shots, so there's 2 right here. The first shot normally came in here, and the second one, sometimes on these 2 specifically, one, and it pulled me down and I shot again. And when I transitioned again to this one, we can see it even more. So those were, you see, 1, 2, 3, 4 shots, and then there's 4 shots right here. So they're coming,
do not come,
and pulling me down. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. The system works, but it's just such a good system that it's pulling me down. This is 9mm, so maybe with 45 it's actually helping because the 45 like pulls up, so like both forces cancel out. I don't know if that makes sense, but for 9mm, the 124 grains I'm shooting, it's just pulling me down. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Make sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to share your thoughts down below. Again, a huge thank to CNP Tir in Tours for letting me spend time with this beautiful KRISS Vector. If you want to see what they're up to, I've put a link to their Instagram in the description, and if you're in the area of Tours, make sure to go say hi and check them out. Quick reminder to follow me on Instagram @Dennis@TheRange, and until the next one, Dennis out.